America's Voice are going to be covering that, as well as the concert on Saturday night. But when they did the soldiers with the period uniforms, so you had the doughboys of World War I, you had the Band of Brothers of World War II. That sparked an emotion that I was not expecting. I really wasn't expecting that. Union soldiers from the Civil War. You even had the Minutemen, the Patriots from the Revolutionary War. They had a guy who was sort of done up as George Washington, the tri-corner hat. I love stuff like that, man. I totally do.
I'm with you on that, and it's part of our history, right? It's a way to honor all of those who have fought for our freedoms. You know, our freedoms, the fight started back during the Revolutionary War. It's not like this is a Johnny-come-lately thing. And so I love that we honor all of those soldiers. And plus, I think it's just so cool to see our military and to honor them, to be able to cheer them on in real, kind of in real life and right there on the spot. I just love those sorts of things, and it brings our community together. I think, anytime you see, all those soldiers kind of marching down, and when you see some of the military equipment, particularly as a kid, I'm a military brat, so I enjoy seeing those kinds of things, and it's nostalgic for me, Jack.
No, 100%, man. Well, hey, let me hand it off to you. I know the president is going to be there soon, folks. With Terrance Bates, you are in good hands.
Jack, good to see you, my friend. America's Voice Live starts right now.
Today, President Trump takes his economic message to New York, talking taxes, wages, and the future of the American economy.
We will make America wealthy again, and we will make America great again.
Special coverage of Trump in New York starts right now on Real America's Voice.
Country, you can give my country back. I don't mind you leaving, hell, I'll even help you pack. Take a bus, a plane, a truck, a train to where they like the way you act. 'Cause if you don't like my country, you can give my country back.
Are you tired of watching people come into this country only to mock it, burn the flag, and tear down everything America stands for? Tired of politicians who seem to hate the very country they were elected to represent? Then it's time to send a message loud enough for the whole country to hear. Country artist Aaron Lewis is fighting back with Give My Country Back. So let's run it straight to #1 on the charts. Scan the QR code to download the song now, or search Give My Country Back on iTunes. The left is going to hate this one.
If you don't like my country, you can kiss my country ass.
Welcome to this Real America's Voice special coverage of President Trump's campaign stop in Suffern, New York. Today marks the first time a president has spoken in that city since Gerald R. Ford in 1976. Hello, everyone. I'm Terrance Bates. Appreciate you being here with us. The commander-in-chief making his way back to the Empire State to stump for Congressman Mike Lawler. Real America's Voice correspondent and host of Breaking Point, David Zere, already on the ground on the campus of Rockland Community College, where 47 expected to arrive quite literally at any moment. David, good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, Terrance. And we just saw an Osprey fly over through the window, and Marine One was shaking the rafters in this field house at Rockland Community College. Thousands of people gathered on the ground. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnik speaking behind us. Mike Lawler, Congressman, just spoke. There's a lot of buzz. Trump's coming. We hear the helicopter. Marine One. So, and we just got a report that Benny Harmony is on that chopper, and the crowd's going wild over here, Terrance. It's electric. It's 2024-esque.
No, I can imagine. When we were talking to you earlier today, the crowd had already started to form. I know you've had an opportunity to talk to a number of people who've showed up there. What are they excited about? What is it that they're expecting to hear from the president? Because there's so much to pick from. I mean, he can go foreign policy, he can talk domestic issues. There's a lot happening in the world right now.
a wide range of opinions, but primary from the homeowners here was the relief that Donald Trump gave them by lifting up the salt cap taxes from $10,000 to $40,000. So if you're paying $20,000 a year in taxes, that additional $10,000 lift is a several $1,000s back in the taxpayer pocket. They're also concerned about electricity here, as Governor Hochul. We see Marine One. He's flying over right now through the window of the field house. He's coming in hot, Terrance. But property taxes were paramount here. But electric rates, Hochul shut down Indian Point nuclear power plant. 15% of the electric is off the grid. Bruce Blakeman spoke. He may come up here after Trump speaks. He's running for governor, very popular here. We're in a bluish, purplish area. Mike Lawler, hanging on by a thread, probably can win, though, because the OBBB is very beneficial to the taxpayers here, up here in Rockland County, Putnam, and Westchester.
And Lawler is going to get a big boost today, obviously, with President Trump coming there. Talk about the demographics there. You said it's kind of a purplish county. Mike Lawler's hanging on by a thread. But do you see President Trump bringing enough star power, bringing enough excitement to the crowd there and to this county that it could potentially put Mike Lawler over the top?
I think it is, because Trump's an economic boon, right, wherever he goes. And I think people are going to realize once they see the GDP go up again, jobs numbers have been good for the last 2 quarters. Rates might not be cut in September, which can hurt him. But, you know, with this OBBB for the taxpayers here, I sat in the economic roundtable with Scott Besson and Congressman Mike Lawler about a month and a half ago, and people got up, retired cops who are active in duty, putting $4,000 to $20,000 a year back in their pocket with the refunds. People outside told me they're benefiting. I spoke to a paid firefighter here. He told me he received thousands of dollars extra with the no tax on overtime, and people have this expendable money again. Now, even though gas prices are still high and mortgage rates are creeping back up at 6.6% for a 30-year fixed again, but Trump brought that temporarily down under 6. I think that's going to happen again within a couple of months.
So is that Scott Besson still speaking there behind you?
Single Democrat.
No, we have Howard Lutnik.
Oh, that's Howard Lutnik,
Commerce Secretary,
okay,
speaking up there. Yeah, very popular in New York here.
Absolutely. You know what? Stand by. Let's listen in. Let's kind of listen in to see what he's talking about.
Copy.
All right, folks, so we want to apologize. We're trying to get this up and going for you here. Howard Lutnik, as you can see on your screen, is speaking. Unfortunately, we're dealing with some audio issues right now. Hopefully, we can get this fixed for you sooner than later so you can hear what he's talking about. Again, President Trump is arriving.
Without leadership.
There we go. All right, we got it fixed. So let's listen in.
You can't have deductibility for your state and local taxes without leadership like Mike Lawler. And I want to just take a minute to recognize Bruce Blakeman, who's a great guy that I've known for years. And he's a great guy, and he'd make a great governor of this state. Look, serving in the cabinet of Donald Trump is the greatest honor of a lifetime. As his Commerce Secretary, my job is to bring in investment in America, and we brought in $18 trillion. We're bringing confidence back to America. We're proving to the world that America is the best place to build, to hire, to innovate, and to grow. So you got to thank President Trump for fighting for America and for fighting for New York. He fights for American industry. We fight using the power of the greatest economy the world has ever seen. We're going to thank President Trump for reversing decades of dumb politicians doing terrible things to our country. He's bringing back strength, he's bringing back leadership, and he's bringing back prosperity. So thank you, New York. Let's go Knicks! 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 Let's go Knicks!
Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back
So that was Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnik speaking there in New York. We are at Rockland Community College. President Trump, we're hearing, has arrived on scene. We're expecting to hear from him here in short order. Our David Zere is also on the ground there as we expect to hear from the president at any moment. David, can you still hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Terrance. And Howard Lutnik, Commerce Secretary, just wrapped up. I wanted to point out this big, beautiful bill that passed has capital expenditures deductible for machinery. You spend $1 million on a machine, you're saving like $370,000 in taxes or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And it's causing manufacturers and businesses. And when I was here with Scott Bessent and Mike Lawler the last time, they visited Genentech, big biotech facility here, leading the country in, advanced drugs and medications. So this CapEx stuff is really major, and I think you're going to see manufacturing really take off.
Manufacturing and the economy in general, I would imagine, is going to be the centerpiece of President Trump's remarks coming up here shortly.
They will. Well, today's theme is fighting for the American workers, and really important in this tight race up here that people understand. When Congressman Lawler won against Sean Patrick Maloney, the head of the chief fundraiser of the Democratic Party 4 years ago, and then won again, he won with a plurality. It was a conservative vote that brought him over the top, and that's the MAGA vote, right? So it's really important this year as they're polling down one with only a few months to go, 5 months to go for early voting starts. It's right around the corner of this election that people start seeing some of these economic benefits. And I think Trump is going to remind them all of the great things, the child care credits, the Trump accounts, the tax benefits, and all the other stuff that we talk about all the time in the OBBB. It could add up to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more for the average family, especially here where property taxes are $20,000, $30,000 for a regular suburban home. So that additional write-off is going to be thousands back in people's pockets.
And apart from addressing economic issues, President Trump just showing up in this community is huge. We mentioned earlier, Gerald R. Ford was the last president to visit this community, and that was back in 1976. So I would imagine, I know if I were to live there, I'd probably feel a little neglected.
People came from all over the place, we're right over the Jersey border. People came from all the way upstate here. I interviewed a lot of people so excited because they were here in 2024, around the country going to Trump rallies. And now it seems like it's that same type of vibe. And there's no doubt that Donald Trump has, a real gravitas. And I talked to somebody in the crowd earlier that was a Democrat that voted for Donald Trump, and they like the results on what they see so far. The gas prices, though, was probably the paramount thing outside of electrical and utility prices in New York State. And it is affecting people. But they got to look at the big picture, I think, regarding how much money are they getting back on their tax return and how many jobs are being created. And maybe by the end of the year, we're going to see things take off 3, 4, 5, maybe some even saying 6% GDP for next year. So we'll have to wait and see.
David Zere reporting on the campus of Rockland Community College just north of New York City. David, stand by. We'll get back to you as we await President Trump's arrival there. We are hearing that he is on site. Of course, you heard and saw as Marine One was arriving there. We're expecting that the president will be in the building shortly. In the meantime, if you want to drop some extra pounds, if you want to boost your energy levels or reduce swelling in your legs and feet, then you'll love these 2 American-made health supplements I'm getting ready to tell you about. First up is Liver Health Formula. Fat deposits in the liver can pile on pounds and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula helps reduce fat deposits with nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. In a customer survey, almost 60% of the people who responded reported better weight management and 87% reported more energy. Next up is lymph system support. This natural ingredient, or the natural ingredients in lymph system support, help gently flush extra fluid and toxins out of your body. They can help reduce swelling in the legs and feet. And right now, for a limited time only, you can get 35% off of liver health formula and lymph system support, along with all 45 plus health supplements that PureHealth Research has to offer. Head over to purehealthresearch.com and use the coupon code VOICE at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com. With the coupon code VOICE, you can save yourself 35% on your order today. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you back out to Rockland County there in New York as we await President Trump's arrival. We're back after this quick break.
We'll be right back with more Trump in New York.
And we will make America great again.
Here on Real America's Voice.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about
This Memorial Day weekend is more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burquois, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Willie Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owens, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American love fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Florida Sun Goddess here. Let me tell you why I love RAV. They let my voice be heard. They give me a platform for community so I don't feel alone. Thanks so much. God bless.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
America great again.
Here on Real America's Voice.
Welcome back, everyone. President Trump is back in New York. No, he's not in New York City. He's just a little bit north of the city in Suffern. He's going to be speaking there in short order. Our David Zere already on the ground there on the campus of Rockland Community College, where the president is expected to be in the building here momentarily. David, so look, let's not be fooled here. This is about the midterms. President Trump is there speaking in support of Congressman Lawler, and this is really setting the stage for the midterms.
Yes, and the recent Supreme Court decisions, Louisiana versus Calais, and then the Virginia decision, puts the GOP back in play to keep control. Still favored to the Democrats, according to Cook Political Report. But remember, Mike Lawler won in a district here, the 17th district in New York, that was won by Kamala Harris. It's one of only 3 districts in the whole country where Kamala won and a Republican candidate won as well. It's very possible that he keeps the seat. It's critical because the Republicans projected to only pick up about 7, maybe 9 seats, according to Cook reports. Others have it maybe at 11, but the Democrats are still, favored according to most of the polling out there, the large majority of it, to take control back of the House, Terrance.
Yeah, I suspect President Trump will be coming to the podium here in short. I think I hear the theme from Top Gun, so I suspect that will happen. Want to quickly bring in Vincent Butta. Vince, a good friend of the show. He, of course, is also the co-host of Live from Studio 6B as we await President Trump's arrival. Vince, brother, good to see you, my friend. It's been way too long. Talk about the importance of President Trump being back in New York, specifically there up north, just north of you guys in Suffern. Put into context for us what this means to that community.
You know, it means a lot because that part of New York, that's where a lot of the folks who work at the FDNY, NYPD, and so on, those guys all live in what we consider, you know, upstate New York. That's the beginning of upstate New York. So they're real fans of Trump. You know, they're big supporters of Trump, big fans of his, and I'm glad he's up that way. I mean, I have seen, you know, all sorts of reports of, you know, stupid protests and stuff going on, but he's at a community college talking about the economy. I mean, you've got to love the energy this president brings, and he's bringing it into New York, which is his background and his whole backdrop for his entire career. So, yeah, we're thrilled to see the president back in New York. I can tell you that. And I bet you some of those guys, too.
No, absolutely. Is it communities like this that turn New York red? The reality is New York City's probably not going to turn red, but is it some of these outside communities outside of the city and upstate that really make the difference or will make the difference?
Oh yeah, big time. You know, even in the 16 election, the 20 election, and the last election, you know, he won the majority of counties in New York. He didn't win New York City. He didn't win the Bronx and, you know, that kind of stuff, and maybe little parts of Long Island and Lower Westchester. But he won the majority of New York, all those counties, and that's where the lifeblood in New York is. And so Suffern, where he's at today, is the beginning of that. So I do think that's where he's got a great shot. And I'd love to see him spending more time in some of the communities he might not have won. You know, get into the Bronx and get into Nassau County and other counties on Long Island, I think, and Westchester. But that is a place that could be red for sure.
David, what are you hearing from the folks on the ground there, folks who have come to see the president, and just even some of the folks that you've talked to there in Suffern? By the way, just correct me, Suffern is in Rockland County, is that correct?
Suffern is in Rockland County, and this is the wheelhouse for Mike Lawler. He won by about 5 points here, and the surrounding counties, including Putnam and Westchester, didn't perform as well. Westchester is more blue, as you know, very wealthy area, but this is more working class up here. There's a large Orthodox, though, Hasidic Jewish community here, and there are up and down, you know, Operation Burma Shave, Trump signs all up and down the roads. There's giant banners hanging, and I think that was due large in part not just to the Lawler people, but to the Hasidic community here. But this, again, is more working class. And, yeah, we did talk to firefighters who do commute from this area. I spoke to school teachers up here who are actually Republicans, you know, because in New York, that's like a rare thing, you know, and they've seen the benefits of what Trump's doing.
Just for perspective, for those of us who don't really know New York, how far outside the city are you? Are we talking 40 minutes, an hour? How far is Suffern outside of New York City, just for context's sake?
Well, it's only about 30, 40 miles, but, you know, as you know, living in New York City could take you 2 hours to go 10 miles in rush hour here. But this is like the start of upstate. When you go north from here towards the Adirondacks, you're in mostly red territory. As you go south from here, you get into Yonkers, you get into Westchester, you get into the Bronx, and then you get, you know, the 5 boroughs. And outside of Staten Island, they're like 3-1, you know, 4-1 Democrat to Republican here. But they face high taxes up here, and there's a little bit of a revolt going on. Because Kathy Hochul is the governor up here, and these people are getting hammered. They're on their 13th budget extension in the New York State legislature right now. The budget for New York, with 5 million less people or so than Florida, is like 2.5 times the Florida budget. The New York City budget is the same as Florida, and there's 2/3 less people. So to talk about about runaway spending and what's going on and high taxes, and 70% of your tax bill up here are the school districts, and people feel it's inequitable. And then now with AI coming to Syracuse, just north of here, we don't have the power supply to do it, and now with, again, Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant off the grid, where do we get that additional 15% power that we already needed? So people's electric bills in New York are spiking. Kathy Hochul has stifled natural gas fracking in New York. There was some pipelines that were being worked on that Trump has, I think, reignited here. But if you're a builder in New York, Kathy Hochul just tried to pass a tax code and a building code that doesn't allow for natural gas. Now, natural gas meets the clean emission standards by 2050 for the United States, and it's clean and it's efficient and it's abundant, and she wants everything to go electric. The problem is you can't heat a 20-story high-rise with electric heaters. It just doesn't work, and it's very expensive for people. So we face high utility costs. We're in a budget crisis. I think Blakeman's going to gain ground. He's very good friends with Donald Trump. And the trifecta of what's going on with Mike Lawler, who, isn't as, you say, MAGA, right, with the MAGA crowd as much, is trying to balance a high-wire act here to stay in office in this district, keep it red, because remember, New York lost a couple of red congressional districts that Lee Zeldin, when he was running for governor a few years ago, helped reform the Republican Party in New York and build up the grassroots again. Some of those seats have gone back to the Democrats. This seat is key, and it's critical to New York.
Hey, Vince, I'm curious. What is it that you want to hear from President Trump? And I guess I'll extend it and let you be an extension of New Yorkers. What is it that you think New Yorkers want to hear from President Trump today?
Yeah, I think David touched on a bunch of them, because if you look at what happened in California with power and energy, the same thing in New York has happened. If you look at what happened in California with having to go through all sorts of regulations and so on, the same things happened in New York. And if you look at what happened in California with real estate taxes, David was talking about energy costs and all that. Real estate taxes across the board, they used to be de minimis in many counties in New York. De minimis, very small. Now they're huge. They're driving people out. So I want to hear Trump talk about these types of things, like how can we bring more energy development into New York? How can we remove more of the regulations that are causing all the red tape to get anything done? I mean, as a New Yorker who's bought a place in Florida, I closed on a place in Florida. It took me 15 minutes. I didn't talk to anyone, and there were like 4 documents. You close on a place in New York, there's 14 stacks of documents. You need 5 lawyers. I mean, it is so complicated and cumbersome. New York's just a hard place to live and do business. So I want to hear him talk about those things, because we have to make a change in New York. And as David pointed out, Blakeman coming in, I think Trump's got to do everything he can to get Blakeman elected. We need a change in New York State. Or there's not going to be a lot of people living there anymore, because Manhattan, they're starting to leave, and Nassau and Suffolk counties almost unaffordable. Long Island, Lower Westchester, the same thing. And then you have all these guys that grew up in the Bronx that work in the fire department and as cops, and they move up to Suffern, up to Rockland County to have a better way of life, that they can't afford that even. So that's what New Yorkers want to hear. Make it easier for us, and how can you help do that?
And perspective is everything, guys. David, you were telling us earlier that property taxes, where you are right now, range from like $15,000 to $20,000. I live in Denver. I thought Denver was expensive. If you charge me $15,000 to $20,000 for property taxes, I'm moving and leaving all my furniture. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Yeah, listen, they can't stop and they won't stop raising your taxes, because if you're here in Sullivan County, in Rockland County, in Orange County, it's very common to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in taxes on just a 2,500 or 3,500 square foot home, and it's enormous. Now, Trump limited the salt caps, the salt deduction caps, to $10,000 when he was president the first time. But Mike Lawler, with 5 other congressmen or so, in order to get them to go along with the OBBB, asked them if they can raise the salt caps. So they're back to $40,000 for these deductions. And that's huge, because let's say your taxes are $35,000 and $10,000 was the limit before. Now you're getting the deduction on the additional $25,000. So you're talking about an enormous amount of money at your effective tax rate. You might be talking about $5,000, $7,000 back in your pocket, sometimes $10,000. So it's really significant. But New York's a runaway train. We're municipal union top heavy. The MTA is $25 billion or so in the hole. We've got a lot of municipal unions here, out of control government spending. It's not going to solve itself overnight. You probably need somebody like Blakeman who can cut through that red tape a little bit, because the New York State legislature almost has a supermajority of Democrat, but it's a progressive leftist Marxist state legislature. And I brought on Jody Giglio earlier on Human Events to talk about that. She's in the legislature. Like I said, they're on their 13th deadline extension for the budget. They can't agree on anything. The Republicans are powerless. So it's very hard to operate for a guy like Mike Lawler in this environment here, and we want everybody to be MAGA all the time, MAGA this, MAGA that. And, and it's really important to the people who got Donald Trump elected. But he also has forces to deal with here and has to maintain power here. But I think the way to do that is through the economy.
Hey, Vince, I'm curious, do you foresee a change? The numbers you guys are touting there in terms of property taxes and all else in New York, brother, I love you. I'm never coming to visit you with those sorts of property taxes. You must be living in a hovel. Good Lord. Do you foresee a change on the horizon, though, with some of the issues you guys are dealing with? Because you guys have laid out a pretty good case for the need for change.
I'm usually glass half full, right? I'm the eternal optimist out here for sure. But I don't see it changing. I see it getting worse unless we have a complete overhaul. And David talked about the state legislature. Legislature. When you don't pay attention to even the smallest local elections, what you get is a dominant party, which has happened here with the Democrats. And we might get a Republican governor. We might get a Republican in here and there. But like Mike Lawler, their hands are tied. They really can't do much. So what New York really needs is going back to the old David Dinkins days in New York City, and even out of Cuomo to George Pataki in as far as the state goes. We need a complete overhaul in the government. And then we need a complete washing out of everything. This is just a problem that's going to take more than a governor being elected or others, because of all of the cumbersome politics that goes in that's driven by the Marxists, really, the left Marxists, as David pointed out. So, yeah, I'd love to say, hey, yeah, man, things are going to get better, but I don't see it at all. And I think a lot of people are in my same shoes. I have a home in New York. My taxes have doubled since I bought that home. That's only 8 years ago. And that's the same for so many people across the state. And up where this place is, in Suffern, those taxes were like $7,000-8,000 a year, not too long ago. And to have them at 15 to 20 grand a year is insane, literally insane. And you're not getting the result back with the services at all. So I'd love to say, yes, man, I see the light. I see the light, brothers, but I don't see the light.
You don't see, and I'm with you on that. That's insane. Like those sorts of numbers, a good reason to move to Jersey. I'm not so sure Jersey is much better, but for the price, you might get a bit more bang for your buck. Gentlemen, stand by. We got some bills to pay here real quick. America, of course, entering its 250th year, and the direction of this particular country is being decided right now in our culture and in our economy, and who we choose to support matters more than ever. Most wireless companies don't care who you are or what you believe. They just want your money. Patriot Mobile, by the way, is different. For more than 12 years, they've stood with Americans who believe freedom is worth defending, funding the Christian conservative movement when others stayed silent. And here's the deal. You don't have to give up quality or service when you switch to Patriot Mobile. They deliver premium priority access on all 3 major U.S. networks, so you'll get the same or even better coverage than you have today. If you think switching is a hassle, well, it's not. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% US-based support team can activate you in just minutes. And if you're still paying off a device, Patriot Mobile even offers a contract buyout. This is a defining year, and we have to work together to save our country. Go to patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code RAV for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/RAV or 972-PATRIOT and switch today. Again, we are covering President Trump returning to New York. He is just north of the city in an area called Suffern. He is set to speak at any moment now. A good friend of the show, Vincent Butta, co-host of Live from 6B, joining me with the very latest. Again, this is a huge deal for President Trump to be going to Suffern. Obviously, if President Trump were to come to the city, no big deal. He's from the city. We expect that. But no president has been in this particular area up there in Rockland County since 1976. I'm seeing here that President Ford was the last president to speak in that area. So this really is some history, and it shows that the president is the president of all, not just New York City.
Yeah, that's, all of us who have been a supporter of President Trump. And by the way, I go back to, in the 80s with Trump. I mean, my first job in my business life, my client was in Trump Tower. I would see Donald Trump all the time. I watched all the things he's done. He is a true New Yorker. And the fact that he makes an effort, not just in New York, like this particular trip is representative of a lot of things he does all over the country in towns, not having to be like the major cities. He's in towns. He's talking to people, in a community college here. This is a community college he's doing this event. This isn't, one of the big universities in New York. It's not one of the mainstay universities. It's a community college. Those are critical for the growth of education in our cities and states. Not everybody can afford to go to these private schools or the way the cost of education now. So the fact that he took the time to do that, it says everything about who he is. He has his eye on. And I saw this in Trump Tower way back in the 80s and 90s when I used to literally see him walking around Trump Tower having lunch. He's always looking out for the little guy. He's not the guy hanging out with the billionaires. He might know these guys, but I saw him talking to the elevator guy, the person at the concession stand, the guy doing, chocolate dipped strawberries. I used to buy them all the time. I loved them. They had great food in that place. But he talked to everybody, but not in hi, I'm Donald Trump. He just wanted to know, how's the family? How you doing, Bob? He knew their names. That's Trump. What he's doing right now is Donald Trump, not the character the media and the left make him out to be. This is a real guy, even though he's rich.
He's rich. He's definitely rich. Well, you make a great point, and I think that's part of the appeal of a Donald Trump, is it not?
100%. And people on the left that I get, and anyone follow me on Facebook, boy, they know the battles I have with all of my friends out in Los Angeles and so on about Donald Trump. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I've met him, but I met him before he was president of the United States. I met him because I was online getting chicken salad and a piece of bread in Trump Tower waiting to go see my clients. And, and he's there doing the same thing. So I met him, when he was just as a regular guy, and as president, he's the same guy. And to me, that's just so critical and important. There's no pomp and circumstance. He doesn't need to show up at an ice cream store, like Biden would do, and order ice cream. He'll just go in. You've seen him in McDonald's and these fast food restaurants talking to everybody in there. This is genuine. He's the real guy. So, yeah, that's sincerity. You can't fake that either. People see right through it. He does it. He's the real deal.
And to your point, New Yorkers will call it out. If they see fake, they're going to call out. They're going to call it out. That's one thing that I learned in dealing with New Yorkers when I was in college. If they see fake, they're going to call it out. They're going to give it to you straight, no chaser. All right, stand by, Vince. Want to bring in Benny Ray Harmony. She just arrived at the community college in the room where President Trump is going to speak. Hey, Benny Ray, I overheard, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, that you were on Marine One with President Trump. Is that right, or is that fake news?
Yeah, no, T-Bates, we flew here with the president. We Air Force One from JBA, and we landed at this little airport in New Jersey, and then we took these helicopters. I guess they're called Ospreys or something like that, with the whole back opened, and then we just landed right in the empty field right outside of this community center. So it was incredible, but we were supposed to have an entire weekend trip planned with President Trump. We were supposed to stay in New Jersey after this, but something came up, but the president said, I'm not missing this event, and we are going. So we're here, and the president should be backstage getting ready.
All right, so he is in the building. We are expecting him to speak. Any indication what he's going to talk about? Obviously, there's been a lot of reporting that the president is going to focus his speech on the economy. There's been some very new developments today. Tulsi Gabbard, of course, has now said she's going to be resigning as head of the office of DNI. So there's some new developments. I expect that he might address those. But what's the focus of the speech going to be? Any indication?
Well, Terrance, I'm sure just like you and Zere were talking about. Oh, we're getting some New York Giants. Jackson Dart, is that his name? Quarterback? You guys want to take
quarterback,
this?
yes.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, we're not going to be able to take that right now, but Jackson Dart, the quarterback of the New York Giants, I guess is getting ready to take the podium the moment he does. If we're able to get the audio up and all, we will show you that. I'm a Bears fan, so I'm not necessarily as excited about that, Vince, but, hey, he is going to get the crowd there excited. And you talked about President Trump being the man of the people. How many presidents, would be out there and are going to bring up kind of the hometown favorite? Most of the crowd there is probably Giants fans, very few Jets fans still alive. But he is a man of the people, and he's able to engage some of those people who get the crowd excited.
That's what he does. And you know how great he is with athletes? We see him at so many sporting events. We see him at the MMA events. We see him at national games that are done in college and so on. He is out there. He loves sports. This makes total sense to me that he would have the quarterback of the New York Giants coming out. Don't do the New York Jets because we don't know who the quarterback is. So you don't want to pick him to come out. But this guy really works well. But Trump, this is why he's so relatable. He relates to athletes. He relates to regular people.
Start this off.
Hey, Vince, let's just listen in. Let's see what Jackson is talking about.
Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. They said the weather was going to hold us back. No weather's holding us back. We wouldn't have missed this. This is great. And I want to thank Jackson Dart. This is going to be a future Hall of Famer in my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jackson. Great. Right. A lot of talent. And a very special hello to a place that I really do love. It's called New York. We got to straighten this place out. But I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with the proud, hardworking patriots of, did you ever hear of Rockland County? Rockland County? So I was born and raised in New York State, and my heart has always been here. I love this place, so we got to straighten it out. We got to get it back. We got to get it back. We're not going to let this happen. And we're sending a lot of money your way. We're going to get it back, but we need talent. That's why we have some of the people that you see right here. We have a lot of talent, a lot of political talent. From the beginning, this was a symbol of American excellence and American grit, and really the American dream. And New Yorkers are people who built Wall Street into the world's financial capital, who turned Broadway into the heart of American culture and entertainment, who dug the Erie Canal. You know what the Erie Canal is, big stuff. And launched 1,000 innovations that built really the middle class of our country. You really built the country. Unfortunately, in recent years, this state's been held back by bad policies, bad politicians, and foolish radical left idiocy. It's crazy what's going on. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything we can to bring New York back in bigger, better, stronger than ever before. And I'll introduce him in a second, but you have a guy named Bruce Blakeman. Let me just say, he's a friend of mine for a long time. He won in landslides in Nassau County. If you know Nassau County, it's all Democrat. He's a Republican, and he won in landslides. And he just had the biggest election in the history of Nassau County as a Republican. And he's very conservative, by the way. I don't want to scare you. He's right here. Bruce, I'm going to introduce you in a second. You better get ready, Bruce. He's going to win. He's going to win. You know, when he ran years ago, he ran in Nassau. They said, you got to be kidding. It doesn't happen. No Republican wins in Nassau. And he ran and he won. And you better watch yourself. You better watch yourself, Kathy. You got a race. Got a big race. So we're going to start turning New York around. I'm going to work with Bruce. I'm going to work with the whole group in New York. We're going to work with Mike. Mike Lawler's fantastic. He's fantastic. He is a fantastic. I call him Mr. Salt. He didn't stop. He wouldn't stop. He was driving us crazy. We have to get salt. We have to get salt back. And he got it back. And he's a terrific guy, and you're lucky to have him. I'll tell you, he loves you. He loves this place. Mike, great, Mike. It's terrible things are happening. However, we have to take the good with the bad. Companies are leaving. Rich people are leaving. People that pay a lot of money. All these rich companies, big, fat, beautiful companies, they have jobs and they have money, and they're leaving, and nobody's stopping them from leaving. New York can never, if we don't stop this, and I'm for you, and I'm helping you in Washington much more than I'm supposed to be helping you, believe me, New York can never be the same if it's losing its tax base, and the people that pay 85% of the taxes are leaving. And we're taking in illegal immigrants. Oh, they're wonderful people and all, but they're not paying any tax. They're taking your money. They're taking your money. The people that pay 85 to 90% of your taxes are leaving. And you know, when they go, they never come back. They never come back. Nobody calls them. Nobody does anything. Nobody talks to them. Nobody says, please don't leave. We'll give you a tax rebate. We'll do anything. Don't leave. But they're leaving. They're going to Florida. They're going to Tennessee. They're going to Texas. They're going to South Carolina, North Carolina. They're going all over the place, but they're leaving, and we can't let it happen. It's a great place. We can't. Bruce will stop it. Mike will stop it. They're all going to stop it. They'll bring them back. On top of that, the streets are dirty. The crime is out of control. We have a family here that's so incredible. Really, two families. We have somebody else. We're giving them the Presidential Medal of Freedom, something we've never done for this reason, but the mother is here of a great young man, and we're going to give him a very special honor. The illegal aliens are all over the place. The people are getting shot left and right. The elections are rigged. They don't have voter ID. They don't have proof of citizenship. Think of it. We want to get the Save America Act passed now. Think of the Save America Day. It's voter ID. Who's against voter ID? You ever see the Democrat National Convention? I call it the Democrat. They're Democrat. But you ever see it? They have cards on them for the Democrat National Convention, cards like bigger than your chest. Name, address, everything you want to know about a person. They might even have a social security number. They have. That's to get into their convention. But for voting, you're allowed to go in, right? It's horrible. So it's voter ID. It's proof, a little thing called proof of citizenship. And it's mail-in voting is a disaster. If you have military, if you're going to be away, if you're not feeling well, if you're in any way disabled, absolutely we have it. We'll be very generous. But generally, you got to go and vote. Otherwise, it's a rigged system. And that, in a nutshell, is the Save America Act. Not very complicated. Think of it. Voter ID. Think of it. Voter ID, proof of citizenship, and mail-in ballots are gone except if you need it. Now, I added two best ofs. No men playing in women's sports. Has nothing to do with it. No men. Like, I'm looking at Jackson. I'd like to know, is there any woman in the audience that thinks they can tackle that guy? Because I'd like to meet you. I'd like to shake your hand. I don't know. Jackson, you think you could play against women okay? Do you think you'd have any problem? I don't think so. But don't get involved, Jackson. Don't get involved, Jackson. Don't answer that question. No, I'm looking at the legs. He's this beautiful guy. He's got legs like tree trunks. This is not a good thing for women. This would not be good. No, it's no good. And we don't want open borders where prisoners pour in from other countries all over the world. They pour in. We don't want open borders. We don't want sanctuary cities where you have sanctuary for criminals. We don't want it. We don't want transgender mutilization of your children, if that's okay. We don't want it. But, you know, I looked at a story, I read a story yesterday where the pharmacies, they're going out of business. They have glass all over the place. You want toothpaste. You have to open up, you have to get a clerk to open up the thing, and they open, and they hand them a toothpaste, and in the meantime, other people are waiting to steal it. They got a guy, they were saying a guy right here, Mr. Lutnik said, Mr. Lutnik, he's a rich guy, but he was in a store, and he noticed when he was in a drugstore, the people were with duffel bags. They're putting crap in a duffel bag and walking, and the clerk says, you're not supposed to be doing that. And the kid said, the hell with you, walks out. And if the clerk does anything at all, they arrest the clerk. How screwed up is our country? How the hell do you make your money if you got to open up glass, expensive glass, to give somebody a toothbrush or to give somebody some toothpaste? That does not sound like a good business model. So you have empty stores. The whole thing, we got to change it. Now, the way you stop that, You know how you stop that? You come down hard on those people. Hard. In one day, you solve that problem all over the country. You just come down so hard that they never forget it and they'll never do it again. They'll never do it again. It's horrible. What's happening is horrible. And it's all in the blue cities, you know, it's all blue. The 25 worst cities are blue. Blue means Democrat. That's a new name I came up with. You've never heard. I was thinking about this character we have in the House. His name is Hakeem Jeffries. And he's a low IQ person, very low IQ. And I watched what he was saying and what the horrible things he was saying, and I said, he's a dumb guy. I said, wait a minute, he's a Democrat. That's how I got the name. You take the E out, you don't use the B. A lot of people don't know dumb has a B in it, actually. You don't need it. You discard the B. But you take the E out and you replace it with a U. They're dumb. They are Democrats. You know why? Because their policies are dumb. Their policies are very dumb. All of that policies. Did you see they did an autopsy on why they lost the election? And they said you lost the election because of Trump primarily. But other than Trump, you lost the election because you had crappy candidates and you had bad policy and they didn't know how to speak properly and they weren't smart people and various other reasons. They spent $10 million for the autopsy. It was called an autopsy. And they had typos, Jackson, they had typos in every other sentence. They had misspelled words. They had commas in the wrong location. They gave him $10 million for the autopsy. I could have given him the autopsy without any charge at all. I said, you had one candidate named Sleepy Joe Biden. What's a better name? Sleepy Joe Biden or Crooked Joe Biden? Ready? Who likes Sleepy Joe Biden? Who likes Crooked Joe Biden? About pretty similar. They're both pretty good. Who likes Crooked Hillary? Oh, she's good. Anyway. But you know, we have another problem because we have the great law enforcement. I met a lot of your law enforcement back there. They're incredible. But law enforcement, I love them. I got 99% of law enforcement vote. Can you believe it? And we're trying to figure out who were the 1%. We want to figure out who the hell were the 1%. Who would vote for Kamala? Who would vote for Sleepy Joe? But even the police are leaving. They're going to Florida, Tennessee, Texas. They're going all over the place where they put them, really, where they give them respect. The respect, they have our respect. They have everybody in this room's respect. But it's this radical turnaround, and we better do it fast because we're not going to have a New York left, and we got to have New York left. And you really can. Guys like Mike Lawler, guys like Bruce Blakeman, you put them in, they'll turn it around. Bruce will go down to Florida, and he'll talk to all those companies that are leaving. You'll get them to come back. He's going to get them back. It's not easy. It's a lot easier to stop them from leaving, don't you think, Bruce? So, but it's a campaign that I promised that I would cut taxes. I had a big, beautiful campaign. We won in a landslide. We won every swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won the Electoral College in a fortune. But we had another thing that we won. 86% of the counties in America. Think of it. That's why the map is all red except for 2 blue stripes. And those were rigged, by the way. They were rigged. They were rigged. We had rigged elections. But I cut your taxes and cut the taxes on workers, families, small business who are the soul of this state. And I made special promises that I would save you thousands of dollars a year by restoring, and we did that, your state and local tax deductions. And what did we save? Your SALT deduction. We brought it back. Mr. Salt. Mr. Salt. Where's your hat, Mike? He's got a hat calling himself Mr. Salt. There it is. Beautiful. I think I'll take one of them. But he didn't stop. This guy was a pain in the ass. It was terrible. He didn't stop. But he said, you're lucky to have him in this community, that I can tell you. And you had some good help from Republicans, right? Good help from Republicans. But with the help of your great congressman, it's what happened. We got your taxes cut, not only from the standpoint of SALT, but your taxes were cut, your take-home pay is soared, and all of the other things that we did. When you look at what we've done, and my motto was promises made, promises kept. And here in Rockland County, the typical owner, you know, your typical homeowner loses over $15,000 each year alone because of your state taxes. They're going to cut your state taxes in half, and more than half. They will do things that you won't believe. And you know, the bottom line is the state itself will make more money than it made before. I did it. I cut tremendous amounts of taxes in my first term. We had the greatest, most successful economy in history. And by the way, we're blowing it away in this term. So today, an amazing thing happened. They said it couldn't happen for 4 years. An amazing thing. The Dow Jones hit 50,702. And the S&P is way over 7,000. So these were two things that they said he won't be able to do when I first got elected. They said he won't be able to do that. There's no way he's going to be able to do that in his first term, which is my first term of numerous terms. By the way, you know we're a 3-term president. We just don't want the results. We won 3 times, but we only want the results of the first and the third. I know. We have a hat. The hat says 4 more years. It drives the radical left lunatics crazy. But we did all of the different things, and we've saved you from $10,000 to $40,000 a year, the people in Rockland. On average, over 1 million New Yorkers